ever felt anxious about something? If you have, you know the feeling. It feels debilitating, as if you can see the future worst case scenario unraveling and you are helplessly watching but immobilized to do anything. Why does anxiety make us feel paralyzed? Why does it induce this state of panic? Let's deconstruct anxiety. What is anxiety? Anxiety is when we are trying to control a future outcome and want it to go a certain way. The more invested we are in that outcome, the more tightly we'll latch onto the situation and obsess over it. We desperately look to the past personal experiences or external data to assuage our fears about the future. This is where we get caught into mental loops of various what if scenarios. For example, if someone has a fear of flying and they have a trip coming up, they may be anxious, but then they can reflect on their past experiences, look up statistics related to air travel, take a pill to calm themselves before their flight, or listen to some calming music while they are flying. They may still be anxious, but now they have taken some steps based on their research and can, within reason, deal with it. Now, someone with heightened anxiety about flying may still not be able to do it. Then there are other scenarios which are not so black and white. Someone who is undergoing financial or relationship issues, they can research and dig into their past but cannot find definitive answers about how they'll pay the next month's rent or whether this relationship will work out. And so they feel crippled because no matter how many different what if loops they can come up with, none of them can guarantee a definite outcome. And if they have their sense of worth tied up to these outcomes, they become more threatening, more suffocating, like there's no way out. And when people visualize these scenarios, they actually feel as if they cannot breathe, as if they are dying. And so the body goes into panic attacks and hyperventilation. Anxiety is like thinking about different scenarios and then living them in your head one by one. By definition, future is something which is not here, it has not happened yet. It is nebulous, something that may or may not happen. And so all we can do is obsess about different possibilities ranging from bad to the absolute worst, but cannot do an iota about it because they are not happening in reality, they are only happening in our heads. And so we cannot take any action on a make believe scenario. That's why we feel immobilized because we are motionless. We can only think, we cannot act. This is where all the helplessness stems from. We are wanting to take control on a mental narrative and we never can, so we feel stuck. Now compare this to when that situation is actually occurring in reality. Think back to your own life when you faced challenging circumstances. When we are in the middle of something, we are busy handling it, howsoever poorly or admirably we may be doing. But we are navigating it. At that time, we do not have the luxury of ruminating because action has to be taken. This is the difference between reality and anticipation of reality. When faced with reality, we are mobile, we take charge, but while anticipating reality, we can only think and worry because we cannot actually interact with something that isn't even happening. If we can see this differently, it will greatly help us because then we can understand that we cannot address a future situation until we are in it. This does not mean we don't plan or prep for upcoming events. We can be resourceful and do what we can, but it has to be solution oriented instead of feeling stuck. So for example, if it's financial or relationship issue, then see what can be done from a solution perspective. Borrow money, crash with a friend. For the relationship issue, seek out therapy. These are concrete steps that you can have in your back pocket as options. What anxiety does is it makes us feel irrational by pushing us into hyperboles and platitudes. Where will I go? How will my life turn out? The rug has been pulled out from under me. I am drowning. I will be forever alone and miserable. Thoughts like these do not provide any real measures, they instead weigh us down and make us pessimistic. Anxiety is when we think the worst and try to tackle it in our heads. Instead, one important point to remind ourselves whenever this happens is ask the question, is it happening now? Yes, it can potentially happen, and I'm getting ready for it. But right now, in this moment, I am safe. Breathe deeply and bring your attention back to the present moment. We tend to be in our minds a lot, so try to be in the body consciously. Breathe, feel the sensations in the body, become aware of your surroundings. Bring awareness to the here and now. This will calm the nervous system and create space between those racing thoughts. Now, think with resourcefulness and consciously come up with actual steps that you can take, however small. Keep a check on the mental narratives. Anxiety makes us feel trapped in a mental doomsday narrative. So we need to get back into the body and remind ourselves 1. It is not happening now. 2. Even if it happens, not 10 awful scenarios will happen together, only one will play out. 3. I will take action as needed. Something happening does not automatically mean that my world will end. I am a grown adult. I will be able to find the next course of action. I have done it multiple times in the past and I can do it again. I don't need to figure out all the steps at this moment. I only need to figure out the next step and go from there. There may be challenges and I might need to put in effort, but I am capable of it. And so, talk to your anxiety. Only you can dialogue with it because you are the one who is viewing this doom and gloom movie in your head. Assertively and consciously take charge. Look at it realistically rather than hysterically. This allows room for sensible and logical thinking. You can evaluate likely possibilities, but be alert and stop if the mind starts going into exaggerated narratives that are blown out of proportion. This way, you stay grounded in reality and can actually come up with responses that are constructive. Talk to your anxiety rationally, and you'll see that a space opens up. Reasonable caution and strategizing can be helpful to navigate difficult circumstances, but looping on a negative situation and believing in the worst case scenario will only leave us scared to death and paralyzed to take action. Prep for the future, but stay rooted in reality. This way, you will not get swept away by anxiety and will be able to stay on solid ground and take adequate action. Thanks for watching.